All right, so this is part 2 of our video of the new Ground Zero Yellow Basket 6.5 coax NEO. We have the speaker playing head-to-head against the regular Yellow Basket 6.5 coax. Check it out. Okay, so we have the test set up. So we have our RTA microphone set up. We have the NEO on one side, and then we have the ferrite on the other side. So on this side is the NEO. On this side is the ferrite magnet. You could tell because this side is not modified. This side, the pot is cut. So, NEO, slim speaker, ferrite, full-size speaker. Okay, so the documentation was correct. The ferrite plays a little bit lower than the NEO. So it wasn't a huge difference, but it was at full volume. You saw a 1 dB drop on the NEO versus the ferrite. I think in a real world application, wouldn't be noticeable, but the paperwork is correct. This one plays a little bit lower than this one, but I'm talking a 1 dB difference is almost nothing. As you can tell, it sounds just like the other one. That was the only difference we saw. Both of them together create, it's an excellent, excellent speaker, and still gonna be our go-to speaker for a 2-speaker bike. They've done a great job. Drop and fit, zero modification. You see it installed and playing, no mods. It's running, it's not bridged either. I only have it running 135 watts each side because that's the way this bike was set up and I didn't want to rewire it. So an incredible amount of mid bass just out of 2 speakers. The new NEO doesn't play as low, but it's only 1 dB off, which I don't think you're gonna notice. So if you want zero modification for your pods, that's gonna be the speaker to go with. As far as the most mid bass possible out of all the speakers we carry. Now let's see if they drop into a tour pack pod. I didn't think they would fit, and I was right. It requires a 1/2-inch spacer, especially since this is a CVO and it's got the volume controls. On that side, it would probably be an easier fit, but if you insist on using these, you got to run a spacer on them. Hurts to still drop and fit, and if you run a spacer, it's going to look like this. This is what it's going to look like if you run a spacer on them. That's a 1/2-inch spacer. So that's up to you. Okay, so I'm completely happy with the way the speaker performed. It did everything it was supposed to do. And it's also now an option for the 98 through 13 Road Glide. 98 through 13 Road Glide, you were not getting the older non-Neo ferrite magnet yellow basket to fit. We've tested it, this one fits. So it gives you another option that we didn't have before, and out of all those options, this would have the most mid-bass. So great speaker if you're looking to add extra mid-bass to your fairing. This is the speaker to go with, in my opinion, especially at the price point. In the $600 price point, and we're talking mid-bass only. There's a lot of speakers that are louder, but that's the issue, especially speakers with a horn. They're really, really loud, but they lack bass. The reason we like the Ground Zero Yellow Basket, especially on our 2-speaker setups, is it gives you a little bit of everything. Gives you bass, gives you highs. It plays with a sensitivity of 93. It plays louder than most regular motorcycle speakers. So you get pretty good performance, you get really good mid-bass, and now you have a drop-in fit. So for our 2-speaker setups, 99% of the time we go with the Ground Zero Yellow Basket. Once we go to a 4-speaker setup, like something that has 6x9s in the lids, then we don't really need all that mid-bass from the front. So maybe we'll go something with a horn, maybe the Ground Zero Red Basket with the horn in the front, or a different brand. But if we have bass in the bags, if we have 6x9s in the saddlebags giving us the bass that we need, then we don't need all the mid-bass coming from the front. So then we can go with a horn-loaded compression driver speaker for the front. That's just the way we do it here at the shop. But if it's a 2-speaker setup, or if you're just trying to build a bike that has the most mid-bass possible from the fairing and the saddlebags, Yellow Basket is a cost-effective way to go. So maybe they're 6x9s. And the key to get any speaker to give you extra mid-bass is control, because you don't want to blow it up. So you want to make sure you have 12 or 24 dB slopes on your crossovers, and power. You're not going to make mid-bass on 50, 60, 70, 80 watts. Like, the speaker will give you mid-bass, but you got to give it some power. We like to see them at 100, 150, 200 watts per speaker. That way you can get the most out of the speaker. But at the same time, if you're running 200 watts per speaker and you don't have a good tune on it, you're just going to rip the cone off the speaker. But they did a great job. I see value in the speaker. And there's going to be a lot of people buying it just because of the fact that it drops in the pod, no modification. The changeover that they made in the crossover, I verified that it works. I played it on the bike, had it hooked up to the same exact amplifier. It was infamous for skipping with the older version of the Yellow Baskets, and there was no skipping at all, and we hit it pretty hard, and we got the volume up there. So great redesign of the speaker. Excellent addition to our arsenal. If you want a really good motorcycle speaker dropped in with no modification that has a really good amount of mid-bass, you can't go wrong with these. So thank you. Have a nice day.